Gentle winds through curtains sway.
The sun never seemed to shine quite right on the Adeleke mansion. Despite the gold-plated gates and the fleet of luxury cars, a heavy silence hung over the halls, broken only by the occasional, frantic shout of Tobi. Tobi was the firstborn son of Chief Kola Adeleke, a man whose face graced every political billboard in the city, and Mrs. Eniola Adeleke, a woman who controlled a shipping empire. To the world, they were the pinnacle of success. But behind closed doors, Tobi was their greatest shame. It started with a tremor, then a fall, and eventually, the full weight of epilepsy took hold of his young life. It wasn't just the seizures that tore the family apart, it was the darkness that followed. Most nights, while the rest of the world slept, the storm would enter Tobi's body. He wouldn't sleep. Instead, he would roam the hallways of their mansion at midnight, let out guttural shouts that chilled the bone, and compulsively pick at dirt and scraps on the floor until his fingernails bled. At first, his parents fought for him. They flew in specialists from abroad and bought the most expensive medications. But Tobi's system was too unstable. Every time they tried to place him in a machine for a brain scan, his body would thrash with such violence that the doctors feared for his life. Slowly, the boy who used to call them Papa and Mama lost his voice entirely. The seizures seemed to have stolen his speech, leaving him to communicate only through grunts and frantic gestures. The stigma began to bleed into their public lives. During a high-stakes political dinner at the mansion, Tobi managed to escape his room. He stumbled into the dining hall, his eyes rolled back, foam at his mouth, crashing into the long table and shattering expensive china. The guest senators and governors watched in horror as Tobi convulsed on the rug. Chief Kola lost the governorship primary that year. The rumors spread like wildfire, the Adelekes are cursed. Even at the local market or church, the reaction was the same. People would see Tobi and cross to the other side of the road, whispering about spiritual spirits. Family members who once flocked to the mansion for favors now stopped calling. They refused to enter the house, fearing the madness was contagious. Inside the home, Tobi's younger siblings, Bisola and Deo, were like ghosts. They were still so small, but they lived in the shadow of their brother's screams. Eniola and Kola were so consumed by the exhaustion of cleaning up Tobi's midnight messes and hiding him from the world that they barely noticed their other children growing up. One evening, after a particularly grueling day where Eniola lost a massive shipping contract because a partner refused to be associated with her unstable home, she sat in the dark living room with Kola. "I can't do this anymore, Kola," she whispered, her voice cracking. "He is destroying us. Everything we have built is crumbling because of him." Kola didn't look at her. He looked at his bruised hands, bruises he got from trying to restrain Tobi the night before. "The herbalists say we offended someone. They say it's spiritual. We've tried the shrines, the hospitals, the churches. Nothing works." In his room, Tobi sat on the floor, his eyes wide and vacant. He couldn't speak, but he felt the heavy energy in the house. He didn't know that his presence was actually a shield, that his midnight shouts were often warnings against the wolves in his father's circle, or that his mother's most successful deals had happened only when he was nearby, his spirit fighting battles they couldn't see. But the parents had reached their breaking point. The pity they felt for their son was being drowned out by a desperate need to survive. As the clock struck midnight and the familiar tremors began to shake Tobi's frame, Kola stood up with a heavy piece of cloth in his hand. "Get the car ready," Kola said firmly. "We are ending this tonight." The car engine idled in the driveway like a low, growling beast. Chief Kola sat behind the steering wheel, his knuckles white as he gripped the leather. In the back seat, Eniola held Tobi's head in her lap. The boy was beginning to vibrate, the familiar midnight current was surging through his veins.
Is the blindfold tight?
Kola asked, his voice a hollow rasp. What happens next, and what consequences will their actions bring?